this chance to introduce you to the story of Moses. This is a special privilege for me because of all the heroes in the Old Testament. Moses is my favorite. I suppose that's because I played him in Mr. DeMille's film, The Ten Commandments. That was more than 40 years ago, but his long shadow follows me still. I suppose that's because the first 5 books of Moses that begin the Old Testament are familiar ground for me 40 years ago. I performed stories from them often, live and on film. I never fail to be moved by them, still. No, I'm not the only one who feels that way, of course. The story of Moses has endured for several thousand years. Millions of people around the world have been inspired by it. The question is, why? What is it about this story that is so compelling? Well, I'm interested in drama, and the story of Moses an oasis in an otherwise harsh environment. But after Joseph's death, according to the Bible, there arose a Pharaoh or king who feared the Jews. Behold, he says, the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Let us deal wisely with them. And so he turns them into slaves, and for many years they labored without reward. But God doesn't forget them. The ancient Jews, remember, were his chosen people. So he calls upon Moses to lead them to freedom. Now here's where the story changes. We often think of heroes as supermen, people who never question their own ability. Moses is not like that, not by a long shot. When God calls on him, Moses protests. Who am I, he said, that I should go up unto Pharaoh and say that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? I am not eloquent, I am slow of speech. The people will not hearken unto me. But God reassures Moses. Oh, he says, and I will be with thee. I will teach thee what thou shalt say. And so, like a good and faithful servant, Moses does as he's told. And at last, with God's help, he's successful. He leads the Hebrews out of Egypt. But then the real challenge begins. For 40 years, the children of Israel wander the wilderness, hoping someday to find a land of their own. It's a hard time, to say the least. Many lose their faith in God. Still, through it all, Moses stands by them. He doesn't always understand God's actions or intentions. He berates the people he leads. He is, after all, human. But he perseveres in spite of it all, and that, ultimately, is what makes him a hero. But that's enough talk from me. Now I'd like you to get ready to a journey back in time to ancient Egypt. It'll be quite an adventure, I promise you. But don't worry. You'll be in good hands. I've asked my good friend Simon to be your guide. That's him in the picture. And you'll be meeting him in just a few minutes. Unfortunately, it's time for me to say goodbye. I look forward to seeing you again next time.
The children of Israel came to Egypt to escape drought and hunger in Canaan. In the beginning, the Israelites were fruitful and multiplied in Egypt. A select few like Joseph even rose to power. But Joseph and how he saved the land of Egypt from famine was forgotten. Egypt made slaves of the Hebrews, and the children of Israel suffered greatly under harsh bondage.
Move it, you dogs!
Do you think
think the new statue flatters me, Counselor?
An uncanny likeness, sire. Larger than life, just like you, Pharaoh.
Build, build, build. That's my motto.
Has sire noticed that even under bondage, the Hebrews multiply? Breeding like rats, infesting our land.
The more slaves we have, the faster we build everlasting monuments to my greatness.
These Israelites shall soon be more and mightier than we, if they join forces with our enemies. We'll be crushed in the middle.
What shall we do, Counselor?
The security of your kingdom hinges on controlling the Hebrew population.
How?
Drown the male Hebrew babies in the Nile, so Egypt will prevail.
So let it be written. So let it be done.
And Pharaoh's soldiers marched on the homes of the Israelites and tore the male babies from their mothers' arms. No! My baby! But one woman, Jochebed, defied Pharaoh's law. For 3 months she hid her infant son, and when the baby was too old to hide, she devised a plan to save his life.
This is the spot, Miriam.
Yes, Mother.
How I wish I could watch you grow into manhood. But this is your only chance. Hide in the bulrushes and watch over him, Miriam.
Yes, Mother.
Goodbye, my love.
Every morning, the Princess Tira, daughter of Pharaoh, prayed for a child of her own. And then she went to the river to bathe.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
There it is again.
And you're here to get pecked, not get your expectations slaked. The 7 billion grinding gears of every SubGenius on Mars, and the one harmonious, well-lubricated gear of the conspiracy, all form a system. All that you see is a great impersonal machine that generates suffering, which is the food of the elder gods. Let the evidence puzzle itself out. You cannot hope to drop out, nor to elevate above this cosmic abattoir until such time as the angelic intervention of the men from Planet X is manifest. But this constant expectation, this gnawing Gnostic knowing, you can drop like yesterday's beef. The conspiracy is going to keep doing what it does. Will you? If you give up on yourself, who is the giver and who is the gave? It's a laser-backed fire hose of tears, followed with all gravity by your dissipation and death. The SubGenius I have become, however, will get some yucks and grins on the way down. I can stop being surprised by anything. That stifling surprise, that immobilizing innovation, just let it go. The world is more strange and terrible than any of us can know. It's also funnier and kinder. And most of all, you're not the world. You're not the elder gods. You're not the conspiracy. And you're not J.R. Bob Dobbs. You are yourself, a free agent able to send $1. You are complete within yourself. You are sufficient and whole. You are a superior mutant. This is your church. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Uncle Onan Canobite, for that fabulous rant. And thank you, Cyber Chump, for the music in the background from their moment of perfect happiness. Wow, that was great.
That was wonderful.
I hope it was self-explanatory. And we'll be hearing from him or her or them again soon. Hey, Dave, I'm speaking of Dave, get this. I was reading this little weekly news magazine that we get called The Week. And there was a review of Tom Petty's latest album. Now, of course, he's been dead for a while. It's his first posthumous release. It's no greatest hits compilation. It's lovingly compiled by his friends and doesn't have mega hits like Free Falling. Instead, it has deep cuts, alternative takes, and 10 previously unreleased recordings. Get this, one unreleased track, quote, Lonesome Dave, unquote, sounds like, quote, the purest slice of classic rock and roll that Petty ever recorded.
Well, I just have to give that a listen because that album of Tom Petty's best, worst, less, best, Leaving the Planet compilation and stuff like that, of which you were just speaking, everything did see Lonesome Dave. And I thought, well, you know, it's not the most creative, inventive name in the world, because cowboys used to call themselves Lonesome whatever this, Lonesome Frankie, Lonesome Guitar Slim,
Yeah.
you know, and I think they knew a lot more people than they said they did, especially if they worked in the asparagus patch, which is just like a fartmonger's paradise. It's horrible.
Well, Frank Zappa had his own pet lonesome cowboy, Bert.
Bert.
Yeah, but that's no relation to you, right? Because there was Lonesome Cowboy Bill before, wasn't there? And Lonesome Cowboy Fred.
There was a Lonesome Cowboy Dave song by the band Perubu. It had been 1980 something, 6 years or 7 years before.
Oh, I see.
And his name is also Dave, and they were jokingly calling him Lonesome Cowboy Dave.
Perubu.
And yeah,
an Ohio band.
kind of like DeVoe or some of those other Ohio bands.
Well, anyway, this Tom Petty song about you, Lonesome Dave, is on an album called An American Treasure. So I guess they must consider you an American treasure.
I think you'd have to be pretty opulent and a speedmaster and a sidekick and a half-cracked person to begin with to ever think anything like that. That's the most ridiculous thing. I didn't really understand what you said, but I can freely and uncontestably and that what you said was not a falsehood.
Right. And now to prove that we're not old and keep the show jazzy and peppy and exciting, let's listen to this.
The conspiracy has been trying to squelch abnormality since time began, practically. It goes so far back and is so ingrained in our culture that it's gotten to where the conspiracy leaders don't have to do anything because it's an endless cycle of normalcy. It's the exact opposite of what would be natural.
I am now learning to apply creative and corrective procedures and to bring back to normalcy and a state of perfection any abnormality or imperfection found within any given manifestation of matter, any given plane, any given depth.
I can easily do anything that I want to do. I can. I'm a winner.
Pursuant to Section 28A, Article 4B, Paragraph 2 of the Internal Security Regulations, I now hand over to you rejected applicant number 578293021.
And the white on his face.
Hey, when am I going to get paid?
Yeah, life sucks.
Yeah,
I've had it up to here. I hate myself, and I hate everyone else. I want to die.
Can you hear me? What the heck is going on here anyway? I need to talk to Bob.
There are weapons that are simply thoughts, attitudes, prejudices, to be found only in the minds of men.
Okay, friends, I've been watching a show called Peaky Blinders. I think it's a Netflix and BBC production. It's been on for several seasons now and is going to continue. It's a British crime show set in around the 1920s and 30s. Very much a period piece, as it were. It's really well written, kind of reminds me of Deadwood and Breaking Bad. It's kind of excruciating. And the reason I mention it is, it would not have anything to do with Church of the SubGenius, except for the fact that several of us really, really like this show. The name Peaky Blinders refers to a British street gang that really did exist, although these stories are fictionalized. They were called the Peaky Blinders because they were very dapper, as violent gang members might go, and they wore peaked caps into which they sewed razor blades, which they could then whip out and blind people they were fighting with, maybe just by slicing their forehead so that their blood ran into their eyes, or if they were really mad, they could blind somebody. So they've been glorified. Of course, the family in this show are the good guys to we, the viewers, because they're a little less bad than the other bad guys that they're dealing with. And it's full of really quotable quotes and cool lines like this.
How's your mother? She says that when she was inside the noose, she saw spirits. She's running seances, but people just come into the house to steal things. Told me it's bad. All right. No, listen to me, Michael. The spirits she sees are real. Believe they're real. Believe it with her. And eventually, you can take the remembered noose from around her neck, like a horse that's been choked off. I need you back, Polly.
Paying whores for sex. Paying killers to kill.
Yeah, nothing for nothing.
Poor Thomas.
No, our mother went this way. Spirits and ghosts, tablets, fucking seances. Scaring us kids halfway to fucking death.
Yeah, well, I'm not going that way. Because in the smoke, I realised something. I'm just like you now. You and Arthur. I was dead in that noose. And then I was saved. So everything from now on is extra. But what I didn't understand until today is when you're dead already, you're free.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders. But the other reason, the reason that it's really... Well, this is my excuse for dragging it into the show. The theme song, Red Right Hand, by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, is, well, if you listen to the lyrics, it might as well be about Bob!
Take a little walk to the edge of town and go across the track where the viaduct looms like a bird of doom as it ships and cracks, where secrets lie in the border fires and the humming wires. Yeah, man, you know you're never coming back. Past the square, past the bridge, past the mills, past the stacks. On a gathering storm comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with a red right hand. Wrap you in his arms, tell you that you've been a good boy. He'll rekindle all the dreams that took you a lifetime to destroy. He'll reach deep into the hole, heal your shrinking soul, but there won't be a single thing that you can do. He's a god, he's a man, he's a ghost, he's a guru. They're whispering his name through this disappearing land, but hidden in his coat is a red right hand. You don't know no money, get you some. You don't have no car, get you one. You don't have no self-respect, you feel like an insect. Well, don't you worry, buddy, cause here he comes through the ghettos and the barrio and the barry and the slum. His shadow is cast wherever he stands, stacks of green paper in his red right hand. You'll see him in your nightmares, you'll see him in your dreams. He'll appear out of nowhere, but he ain't what he seems. You'll see him in your head on the TV screen. Hey buddy, I'm warning you to turn it off. He's a ghost, he's a god, he's a man, he's a guru. You're one microscopic cog in his catastrophic plan, designed and directed by his red right hand.
Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. The theme music that's used in the show Peaky Blinders.
Friends and neighbors of planet Earth, I come to you from a long, long ways off. I come from a planet that is similar to yours. Your many fears, tensions, and frustrations are no longer ours.
I hate them with all my heart. They are inhuman and to be destroyed.
What is your objective?
You're not ready, but we will still save you.
I'll be right here.
I was first contacted by a being from the planet Mars. Now, this man was invisible to me, except that he did cast a shadow in the moonlight.
By 1998, every normal, mediocritan, pink boy, admin, Trekkie, and hippie is going to be trying to get on board with the good ship Dobbs.
The good ship Dobbs.
Or they're going to fry along with everybody else when those aliens get here.
Of course, such a prophecy immediately arouses our cynicism. Is it possible that the end of the world will come in July 1999? Perhaps. Or is it just another of those prognostications which have haunted man through the ages? Such a forewarning of ultimate doom could generally be dismissed out of hand, but for the fact that many of Nostradamus' other prophecies have already been fulfilled.
But the old ones are coming back. I'm going to let them through.
Good. The tools of conquest do not necessarily come with bombs and explosions and fallout.
They didn't take us off to space last X Day, but the song Take Me Off to Space, originally done by the great Nenslow, seems to be one of the catchiest. Well, we've used it a lot on Hour of Slack, and it's on several of our music CDs because it's a great song. And I wasn't there to record everything this last X Day, but Princess Wee and some other people at least got a partial recording of this wonderful moment when the crowd suddenly spun. They were in the process of burning the Bob dummy, which we do every year, and it turned into a group chorus of Take Me Off to Space, singing around the bonfire.
There is a bomb, a smoke bomb in his heart, and one at the pipe.
He's got a smoke bomb.
He's got
it.
What does he have in his arms? Sparklers? Roman candles?
He has us in his arms. That represents us. Let the burning begin.
Burn, baby, burn! Burn, Bobby, burn! Burn that Bob! I think that'll do it, Jace.
That was awesome.
Woo!
Quiet.
He's sparkling.
Drizzling with pixie dust.
Now maybe the saucers will see you.
There it goes. The Bob sign has fallen. Bob is ash.
Yeah. What an
Bob is now ash.
Ashes to ashes. Dust to dust.
To space.
Hey, cattle mutilators, won't you let me join your crew? Give me a knife, you bet your life I'll cut up gals for you. I don't care if you're some kind of ghastly fiend without a face. So come on down, you saucer man, and take me off to space. Take me off to space. Take me off to space. Come on down, you saucer man, and take me off to space. Take me off to space. Take me off to space. Come on down, you saucer man, and take me off to space.
Come on, you tiny robots with your little nipper claws. You cross-eyed, gotch-eyed aliens with 9 and 20 paws.
Life is just a sucker's dream, and death is a disgrace. So come on down, you saucer man, and take me off to space. Take me off to space. Take me off to space. Come on down, you saucer man, and take me off to space. Take me off to space. Take me off to space. Come on down, you saucer man, and take me off to space. Who said it was awful?
Nope, it was awesome. Awesome.
Who said it was awful?
Get chewing gum out of your ears. Awesome.
Awfully nice. Awfully awful.
It was awfully awesome.
We were awful.
Tremendously awfully awesome.
Yes. Yeah. We should run our
eternal salvation or triple your money back. Okay, well, we're back.
That was different. Or what, is this one supposed to be different or electrocutional?
We're back into electrocutional.
Okay.
Ready to go. And when we go, that's when we say, thanks for listening. This has been Hour of Slack number 1700. And for more information, check out SubGenius.com. It might tell you what kind of money you could spend to get some things, but we can't on account of the kinds of stations, actual broadcast stations. They're do-gooder stations, not commercial stations. They're there for the public good, which means they can't do us any financial good.
Right, pantsweaters, we call them sometimes.
Yeah. So,
bedwetters.
Yeah. I need to jump in here and say, no, this is actually show number 1701, and because the holidays are upon us, that